And welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be continuing with if Naruto had cremation. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right into the video.
You are watching Shinobi LX. Enjoy.
Recap. So as always, go watch the last video. So Kakashi tells Hiruzen that he's gonna go get these two now then. So Kakashi walks out the room and was like, great, now I have to track down to Sanin. Sighs and begins to walk away. Now, after Orochimaru takes Naruto, Hinata, and Karin back to the Sound Village, he takes Naruto into the other room and he blatantly makes it obvious to both of them that Naruto is clearly the star of this show. So, like, they're immediately set into a spot of where they're going to get taken care of, they're going to get stronger, but they're not going to get close to Naruto's strength because he's always being seen with Orochimaru, and the only time they see Orochimaru is if they're having side effects or something. And for the record, this has been going on. I know that you said they could, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. So, like, as this realization is setting in, they're like starting to fall into their roles, like the background person, stuff like that. So as like Orochimaru is talking to Naruto and telling him all these seals and stuff that he's gonna put on him to make him real strong, and once all these seals come off him, once he get used to running around with these seals on all the time, and and he takes them off of him, Naruto's gonna be stronger, faster, unhumanly, like you're gonna be able to see better in the dark, stuff like that. So Naruto's listening to this and he's liking what he's hearing. And like Naruto begins to tell Orochimaru like things that he doesn't tell normal people. And he's also putting a lot on the line because a lot along with this power that Orochimaru is trying to give him comes with some drawbacks. Like he can't use chakra. After this Orochimaru's done running his experiments, Orochimaru tells him that there's a slight chance that you might not ever be able to use chakra again. So any kid that you would have past this point, if they do not have your ability, that's it. They can't do anything. Because there's no guarantee unless they have some other uncanny ability, there's no shot that they're gonna have chakra. Unless their mom has an abundance of chakra, like an Uzumaki. And those, as you can see, are very hard to come by. So Naruto, like knowing this fact, he still risks his children's lives for this power. Because he thinks in order for him to go back to that village and rule it the way he wants it to be ruled, he has to do this. So I'm gonna say like 2 or 3 years pass, and these two Sanin have fought Orochimaru and never found out that Naruto was with them, never found Hinata, always hearing about them though. This kid spewing blue flames out of his hands with this red-headed chick with bright yellow chains and some girl with white eyes have been running amok doing assassinations, helping the Akatsuki gather tailed beasts, fought the Akatsuki at one point, um has delivered intel on the stone village to the sand village and it got led back to the cloud village, stuff like that. So like they're constantly hearing about them, but Orochimaru hasn't said anything until like for the record, we did basically just literally skip over everything as them as a kid. I really want y'all to know that. I had no type of intention of making them of y'all sitting through their entire kid story, kind of like how I do in some of my other what ifs. Anyway, so Naruto, after like so long, he tells Orochimaru that I think this is about as strong as you're gonna get me. And Orochimaru was like, yeah, it seems like that. Besides, I still have a side project. And Naruto was like, oh wait, yeah, that's right. I wasn't even your main intention. You got what you wanted a long time ago, didn't you? He's referring into Sasuke. And Orochimaru was like, yeah, you can say that. And Naruto was like, I'm sorry to say this, but eventually I'm gonna come back for him, right? And Orochimaru was like, what do you mean? Naruto was like, there was some unforeseen side effects in your work. So I've seen and I've talked to some people, and Orochimaru's thinking like he can't see or talk to anybody because Orochimaru's always with him. So what is he talking about? So like Orochimaru's looking back like he's being real all investigative. So whatever he's been talking to has to have came from inside of him. So he's immediately thinking Nine Tails Seal. He didn't. He forgot all about the Nine Tails and the fact that not only did he just make Naruto himself stronger without even tapping into the Nine Tails power, but Naruto still has a giant fucking fox inside of him. So Orochimaru was like, wait a minute, I kind of don't want to let this kid out. I don't want to release this absolute monster that I just made out onto the planet. I don't think it's ready for that. Like, he's legit questioning what he's done here. And then right before he can actually do something, Naruto was taking Karin and Hinata. And at this point, although he did say he couldn't do a lot of shit for them, Karin and Hinata at this point are cold as shit. Like, if all three of them gathered up on Orochimaru right now, they would beat the current body that he's in. And I don't have a current body for you because I don't know what all his current bodies did and stuff like that. Just know it was one of the canon parts of yeah, when they were teenagers, like one of the stronger versions of Orochimaru. Them three could probably take one of them on. Naruto himself could probably hold off Orochimaru at the state that he's in right now. Sasuke has yet to be trained. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, so Naruto begins to like leave, and as like he's leaving, two like people jump down in front of him, and one of them runs up to him and was like, "It's been forever. We've been looking for you for the longest time." And like at this point, dude's supposed to be dead. Jiraiya, he's supposed to have been dead. If y'all notice, Jiraiya not dead yet. So, like Jiraiya, like was like, we've been looking for you so long. We started to suspect the worst. And Naruto was like, "Do I know you?" And Orochimaru was still sitting off in the back, and Tsunade is like, "So I'm guessing you had them this entire time and didn't tell anyone." And Orochimaru like realizing like if he doesn't get out of here now, he's not gonna have another opportunity to. So he instantly starts trying to bail out, and well, he's successful, and Tsunade's like, we'll just get him another day. So she turns her head back and she looks at Naruto, and Naruto's got this confused look on his face, like, "Who are you?" And Jiraiya starts telling him like, we were tasked with finding you forever ago. So many things have happened. So much could have happened. You know, yeah. And Naruto's like he's still in this like crazy mindset of, bro, who are you? Like, I left the village like legit forever ago, and y'all just found me. And like they're headed, like Jiraiya's telling them like, let's go back to the village. And Naruto was like, what? Wait, what? No. Why would I want to go back to the village? And Jiraiya was like, because we found you. You were waiting for us to find you. You were doing all that stuff for us to be able to find you, for us, yeah, come back to the village. And Naruto was like, what? No, I didn't do any of that stuff to help get back to the village. I was doing that stuff for me. And like Hinata tells Naruto like maybe the least we could do is go back to see what the village looks like now compared to what it was before. And Naruto being around Hinata for so long, he's learned to trust her. So he he agrees and they go back to the village. And when they get back to the village, Naruto notices a lot has changed, but not for the better. There's a lot more people blaming other people for frivolous things. There's another kid running around being hated just as much as Naruto was for no reason at all. Like, legit, as soon as Naruto left the village, they just found another kid to hate and put him in the same position. The only difference is that he's being quote unquote called the new wielder of the Nine Tails just to make the other villagers feel safe because they know without the Nine Tails they were fucked. So they would rather have somebody running around pretending to be the Nine Tails Jinchuriki rather than to realize that their Jinchuriki is gone. So Naruto he's getting mad and Jiraiya's like he stayed going on about how he's so happy that Naruto's back. Naruto's finally returned. He finally got his master's, I mean, not his master's, his student's son back to the village. And Naruto pauses and was like, wait, what do you mean, your student's son? And Naruto's like, I trained your dad. You don't know who your father is? And Tsunade was like, oh, well, knowing Orochimaru, he would probably want to keep any bits of the history, his history, and the history of the Kage out of what he's doing. And Jiraiya puts his hand on Naruto's shoulder and was like, "Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to talk about." So they sat down, and Tsunade was like, "Maybe it's not the greatest idea to sit down with somebody that's supposedly dead in the broad daylight at a ramen shop. Why don't we go to the Hokage's office?" So Jiraiya was like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. So they start walking to the Hokage's office. Now it's all three of them. And all three, well, it's all five of them. And all five of them have different stories. Well, have different background. Well, yeah, have different backgrounds. Naruto's done solo missions, Hinata's done solo missions, Kanin's done solo missions, Tsunade's done solo missions. Right? So these guys just walking in the village like they just don't have reputations was amazing. So from their perspective, they're not being noticed. But from everybody else's perspective, for the nigga, for the one guy that's never used chakra, can't use it anymore. You can't sense him when he's moving around because he has no chakra. That spews blue flames out of his hands to just walk into the Leaf Village. It has an uncanny resemblance to the Nine Tails user. I mean, to the Nine Tails Jinchuriki that they lost. Right? Like that's just uproaring in the streets right now. Like it's going past, but like I mean, it's like it's spreading like wildfire. It's just not loud. Like no one's up in arms. Everyone's a little paranoid, freaked out. And then they see like the signing, and then they see the two other people that have very violent reputations. So like a whole lot of people are on guard and stuff because of that, because they have legit bounties on their heads for millions upon thousands of yen or whatever the fuck they're using in Naruto's universe. Um, so they get to the Hokage's office, and Jiraiya starts to explain it, and Hiruzen walks in the room, and Jiraiya sits in the chair, and Naruto's like, "Wait, what? I'm so confused. Isn't he supposed to be sitting there?" And self-serve. Never mind. I just thought of a better scenario. So as they're all sitting in the room, Naruto, like Kakashi walks in the room and he goes and he sits in the chair in the middle of the, like he sits at the desk in the middle of the room, and Naruto's like, "Wait, I'm confused. Isn't the Hokage supposed to sit right there?" And Jiraiya was like, "Yeah, since me and Tsunade didn't want the job, Kakashi took it. That's the fifth Hokage." And Naruto was like, "You do. You know what? Never mind." And then Shikamaru walks in the room and he's like, "Wait." And he walks back out, and Jiraiya was like, "Wait, Shikamaru." And Jiraiya was like, "You know what? I mean, not Jiraiya. Shikamaru was like, "You know what? Um, don't have time for that." So he's walking away, and Naruto was like, "Bro, what? I'm so confused. What's going on here?" And Tsunade was like, "If any of this isn't making sense, I'm pretty sure it's because you've been away for so long. A lot of things have changed." And Naruto mumbles under his breath, "Apparently not a lot." And like before, like Jiraiya could ask him what he meant by that, Naruto looks at Kakashi and was like, "Are you aware of what's going on out there?" And Kakashi was like, "What are you talking about? Everyone else is telling me the village is fine. So what are you talking about?" And Naruto was like, "Okay, so you might not have lived it, but I have. They're out there hating on some other random kid, calling him the Nine Tails. Do you wonder why that's a thing?" And Naruto, like everybody's quiet, and Naruto's like, "Oh, you don't know what that means, do you? That means when I left, this village just found some other unsuspecting, poor, innocent child to ridicule and bully. You know that? That means that immediately after I left this village, you found another victim for all of this village's hate, greed, and pain. That's what you did. You may be the Hokage. Everyone may tell you that this village is fine, but I've seen better from the worst of people. I've seen better from Orochimaru, and we all know what he does." And then he looks at Jiraiya and was like, "For someone that supposedly knew my father, and you stayed on a mission when you knew he had a son, and you didn't come back to check up on his son, you're the worst master anyone could ever ask for. I'm leaving. I'm never coming back." And Naruto walks out the room, and Jiraiya is like completely like he's just stuck because he didn't know that Naruto hated the village as much as that. Kakashi definitely thought that the village was doing fine for what it was until Naruto just came in here and just took a shit on everything. Um, but yeah, so there everyone's like questioning themselves, and then like Naruto walks out and he's trying to get out the village as quickly as possible. Then like he runs into like a whole like bunch of people that from his past, like all the kids from his class, and they're just like standing there, and Naruto's like, "What are you all looking at?" And Kiba was like, "Well, for the guy that can't use any chakra, you sure are pretty antsy." And Naruto was like, if you really want me to show you why I have my reputation, I'll show you. And his hands light on, like Naruto's hands burst into flames, and um Kiba like kind of like steps back a bit, and Shikamaru walks out the Hokage's office and was like, "Now Naruto," well, walks out the Hokage's building and was like, "Well, Naruto, we don't want any problems this close to the Hokage building. It might be seen as a national threat. You don't want one of those, do you? Not one of those lingering over your conscience." And Naruto looks back, and the most the most threatening way possible, he lights the ground beneath him on fire, look at Shikamaru, and was like, I am a national threat. What are you?" And he looks back at Kiba and was like, "For someone that's been stuck in this village his whole life and hasn't seen the real world for what it truly is, you are sorely mistaken if you think I'm gonna sit here and allow you as a weak human being to talk to me like you're worth my time." And Hinata looks at Naruto and was like, "Maybe we should leave." And Naruto was like, "Yeah, maybe we should." And right as they're walking away, there's a big there's a big cloud heading right toward them. And like it hits them and everything goes black. And this is where I'm gonna end this part off. If y'all enjoyed the video, drop a like. If y'all enjoy my content, please subscribe. Anyway, this has been Shinobi. Peace.